Having arrived at the ranger station to verify that there was no drone flying permissible, albeit that the winds were still up high, so it really wouldn't have been that possible, as well as that there was no off-track riding, in other words, no real overlanding. You had to stick to the designated routes. It was out with the camera for a cursory look around, because after all, this is Monument Valley. G'day folks, welcome back to the channel. My name is Trevor and I am your one-armed bandit in the bush. Today we are in Monument Valley. That's actually a Navajo tribal park. Last night, after anchoring down in that is very, very strong wind, the temperatures dropped below freezing. There's snow blanketing Salt Lake City, and albeit that I'm not right next to Salt Lake City, I'm somewhat south of it, it is seriously chilly out here. To be honest, the temperature right now is cold. So, being the lizardy type creature that I am, I'm going to want to be sitting in sun all day long, and to be honest, I have just unfortunately found out that there will not really be any camping that I can have in this immediate vicinity. So, what I plan on doing is circumnavigating the routes that they have here. It's not really big overlanding stuff, but the sights are simply amazing. And then after that, well, I'm going to have to bust out here. I'm going to have to go and find a hole somewhere down deep where I can get a campsite that's going to be one out of the woods so that at least I can cook for myself. And also so that I don't get my rooftop tent blown off the top of the truck, because the height that it sits at, if I don't get the park exactly right for the wind, yeah, I could have troubles overnight. And, tomorrow the wind is forecast to blow even stronger yet again. So, I tell you what, why don't we get out of here and go take a look? We have to film stuff, not to complain about the weather. So, without any further ado, I'm going to go out and see what I can find for you. So with that, it's time to share with you what my Monday morning commute to work looked like today. Not an ordinary Monday morning commute to work, not by any stretch of the imagination. This was one magnificent drive to work. Navajo name for this absolute wonder is Sky, and I hope the narrator got that one right. But the entire Navajo reservation covers 1/3 of the 130,000 square mile Colorado Plateau. The Navajo Nation, among its 29,817 square miles of endless geological wonders, lies a hidden valley that John Wayne calls God's treasure. Monument Valley sits at 5,564 feet above sea level, and the park extends into Arizona and Utah, about 91,696 acres. The height of the monuments that you'll be looking at range from 100 feet up to 1,500 feet tall. And of course, this dry desert climate receives all 4 seasons, and it was established in 1958 as a preserved environment by the Navajo Nation Council under the Division of Natural Resources, should I say. Monument Valley displays a first-hand look at one of the most tremendous natural structures created by erosion. This is a place where time stands still, long enough for you to feel the harmony and peace of the last western frontier. I hope you will enjoy this video with me. Having left the park and driven a few miles, I made one last stop to look back the direction I had traveled, because this is Forrest Gump Hill, made famous by the Hollywood blockbuster of the same name. So I've exited the park and I've arrived at the Comosh Trail, and I'm now going to head out. It's probably about 25 miles north of the park. This trail is going to be about 12-15 miles. So I'm hoping that somewhere along here I'm going to be able to find somewhere decent to camp and even to hunker down for more than a day. The forecast for tomorrow doesn't look great. Tonight's going to be cold. The area that I'm heading to, all the mountains around there have got snow on their tops, so it's going to be fresh. But let me get on with heading down, and then we'll get moving and go find ourselves a campsite. So, having driven in the valley for about at least 2.5 to 3 hours, and having checked out at least 15 or more different potential camping locations, the sites were either taken, occupied, or they were right in the flash flood zone, and I took a right turn, and that got me onto this little spur, and I went looking for a campsite here. But as you can see, this is a no turnaround spur, which just so happened to turn out to be a mountain pass. So the point where I'd actually entered this trail is, if you look in the center left, those tall peaks way off there in the distance. We'd entered in beyond there and had driven through this valley all the way. It was a relatively straightforward drive, a bit of soft sand, but very well maintained. A lot of campsites, but not really anything that I could find. So it was up and up and up I climbed. And you can see here, there's some places where the trail runs very close to the edge of steep drop-offs. So, one had to be very mindful of tire placement. Given, of course, you don't want to come off the edge of this and go tumbling down there. And it's vertical on both sides. So cliff up, cliff down. And of course, there's no campsites out here. Search as I may, it just wasn't going to happen. And, I don't know that you're going to find exactly the most level piece of ground here to rig a campsite up and or at least set a campsite up with my rig and hope that you're going to get anything level. Besides, I would have been right in the middle of the pass. Everybody would have been upset if they came along there and here I was sleeping on the mountain. All right, folks, so here we are. This is not a camp, right? This is not my tent. And I don't know who said it before, but things don't always work out the way you think they're going to when you're overlanding. One little challenge that I ran into on that mountain pass was that Pumba was overheating a little, not overheating, but the temperature gauge was climbing. I attribute that to the fact that I was in four-wheel drive high, coming up a very bumpy, rocky, relatively steep mountain pass. So I was using a fair amount of left foot braking just so that I could control the power surge to the wheels and that the vehicle doesn't go jumping all over the show. But that puts more stress on the engine, and I think that probably resulted in the engine temperature just rising a bit. But on inspection, obviously, I discovered that the weeping that was coming from my radiator hose, there appeared to be a bit of dripping. Maybe that could have been overfill, not too sure. But because I've still got a long time out here and a lot of miles to do, in fact, thousands of miles still to do in these travels with you, I decided to come into the village of Blanding, the town of Blanding, and I found an auto shop that is going to check out that radiator hose and clamp and repair that, as well as Pumba has a service that is now due. 215,000 mile service is due. And the secret to keeping these Tundras going forever is to do those oil changes when they are due. So without any further ado, I shall be going in first thing tomorrow morning. They've luckily given me the first appointment, so I'll be in there bright and early, get that checked out, get the service done, and then I'll be heading out of here, and I'm going to go north in the general direction of Moab, and as soon as I get off elevation, because I'm currently at about 6,700 plus feet, tomorrow's forecast is strong winds. It's going to be very cold overnight, and tomorrow night's going to be cold. So again, I have to really get down in elevation to find something that's going to be suitable, or it's going to be a big schlep to set up a fully blown winter camp. So that's how we bookend today. The glamorous part of overlanding. Little things don't always work out the way you want them to. But look, this is no big deal. This is part of the game. I'm really looking forward to continue the journey moving north. Whilst it's going to be cold over the next 2 days or so, it's starting to look a little bit more promising towards the weekend. And then into next week, it will start warming up further. So what I'll do is I'll use this time just to maybe search to see if I can find anything that is at lower elevation that is going to be viable for me to travel to go and camp. And then after I've had the vehicle serviced, I shall be on my way yet again tomorrow. So trust you've enjoyed this. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. If you haven't yet hit the like button, please do so. And one final request, please put some comments. Let's get some conversation going. Is this what you want to see? Are you enjoying these videos? Or is there something else that you think I should be looking at or trying to take in while I'm out in this general area? So, thank you once again. Really looking forward to starting the next part of the journey tomorrow morning with you. And then, of course, it's north, further on up into Utah. But until then, you have a very good night, and we'll talk again in the morning. Stay safe.